Singapore's nightlife is a cocktail lover's dream with unique drinks around every corner. Join Renjie and me as we explore the best bars from Native to the Elephant Room and share tips to finding the perfect spot to party.
So, Neil, when you travel, are you the sort of traveler that looks up and actively seeks out the nice bars in town?
I would say I'm someone who would have a couple of drinks.
Yeah.
But I don't want to just go to any place. So
Right.
that's why I will research.
Yes.
I will try to ask friends like you
Yes.
about a certain place. And then I would want that drink to be a great drink
Yeah.
with a great vibe
Yeah.
all around.
And what to you are the big cocktail capitals of the world?
I would say Tokyo.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's one. I've lived in Melbourne. So over Melbourne and Sydney, I would say Melbourne is really good
More
with
than
cocktails.
Sydney. Yeah.
London and New York always feature
Of course.
on many lists.
Yeah.
Singapore would come. Hong Kong is something that also might feature.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that come to my mind.
So my list is very similar to yours. To that, I would only add maybe Mexico City.
Oh, really?
Just because it's like the level of craft is so high and, just conceptually they're so strong. But that brings me to my next question, which is, when you think about what the great cocktail capitals of the world are, what are your like one or two traits and characteristics? Because I have maybe two elements in my mind, which is also why I personally feel that Singapore is one of the great cocktail capitals of the world.
So the traits that I would look for are how unique the cocktails would be in a
Yes.
particular place.
Yeah.
And I would mention Bangkok also
Yes,
on that
absolutely,
list.
yes, of
So
course.
because it's very easy to make the classic cocktails now. I would like to put but still doing them in a better way than the regular ones are great.
Yeah.
But when you're in a city, whether you're in a tropical climate, you're in a cold climate, you want to really try something that has something local
Yes.
in the cocktails
Yes.
that really tells you about the place.
Yeah.
So every time I would be in a city, I'll move away from the classic cocktails.
Yeah.
I will try what is local. So
Correct.
when I'm in Thailand, I'll always go for lemongrass, kaffir lime, galangal instead of ginger. So
Yeah.
those are things that I look at. And
So
that-
how
yeah.
differentiated, I guess, for you the concept is, right? Like how local it is to a city.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think my list is similar to yours. I was going to say actually a technical capability to make a really good drink using good technique, and two, like the diversity of really strong and interesting concepts. So how many themes there are, in any given city insofar as bars go. But to that point, one of the bars that I always end up going to in Singapore, it's called Native.
Okay.
And so, like the name suggests, Native is a bar that identifies and works very exclusively with Asian ingredients. And so, whether that's like Asian-only spirits or ingredients that are foraged from around the bar. It's downtown. It's in the middle of the financial district, but also in the middle of the nightlife district in Singapore. And it's just so wonderful because every time you go there, you discover a new flavor combination of very deeply local Singaporean ingredients, Southeast Asian ingredients, but put together in interesting ways with very, very much technical precision.
Yeah.
Which I always love.
I was just thinking, you mentioned Singapore as one of the cocktail capitals of the world. A lot of lists, like the world's 50 best bars,
Yeah.
Asia's 50 best bars, have a lot of Singaporean bars
Yes.
on those lists.
Yes.
And for anyone going to Singapore, I often ask them to refer to those lists.
Yeah.
Because that is a good starting point. And
Yeah, for a crash course.
exactly.
Yeah.
So you mentioned Native. What is something else that comes to your mind?
So, to that point, I 100% agree that the lists are a great way to start if you know nothing about a city.
Yeah.
Right? But actually, I find personally the most rewarding and enriching way to discover a city, particularly with something like nightlife and with cocktails, is by asking people where to go to. Right? And so Native, which is the bar that I was telling you about, is run by someone named Vijay Mudalia. He's a wonderful friend of ours, and again, very Singaporean, a Tamil Singaporean. And he was the one who first recommended me to check out this other bar called the Elephant Room. So the Elephant Room is also run by a Tamil Singaporean, coincidentally, and his name is Yugi Yugnes, right? But Yugi looks at and draws on his own Tamil Indian heritage. Again, very, very deeply Singaporean at its core. And he grew up, going to Little India. He grew up with the very sort of South Indian traditions of religious life in Singapore, cultural life, like food life in Singapore, right? And so all of his drinks in his bar called the Elephant Room are curated and inspired around his Tamil heritage, and I think it's just so wonderful. He has a drink called Jothi's Flower Shop, which is one of the oldest establishments in Little India, in Singapore's Little India, and they sell these beautiful Tamil garlands, flower garlands that are just heaving with jasmine, heaving with roses.
So he's named a drink after that.
He's named a drink after that, and he sort of infused this mogra into the drink, and it's just such a wonderful way that his entire heritage and his lived experience is captured in a cup. I think that's a wonderful way to experience Singapore that way.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Now, there are cocktail bars, but I know Singapore also has many wine bars,
Yeah.
and wine is a big thing.
Yeah.
And wine in a tropical climate is very different to the wine that you'll probably have in Europe or something like that.
Yeah.
So, are there
absolutely.
any wine bars or anything about wine experiences that you would like to talk about?
Over the past 10 years, I would say something interesting that has come up very, very strongly in Singapore is natural wines. And to your point on sort of wines that are made for a tropical climate, natural wines are made without sort of additive yeasts. It's made with wild fermentation. And so because of that, flavors tend to be a lot more funky, I would say. Really, really able to stand up to, I think, the warmth of Singapore, but also the cuisine that we have, right? And I always say that some of the best restaurants in Singapore are actually at the natural wine bars, where you end up having like gastro bar kind of food, but food that is ultimately made to complement the flavors of the wine, food that is ultimately, technically perfectly executed, but just like a really, really comforting bowl of food. And so, for instance, two bars that I love in Singapore are Wine RVLT. I think it's like Revolution, but it's spelled RVLT in uppercase, and Bon Funk, which are two wonderful bars in Singapore that I always have a great time eating at as well.
Awesome. So, before we end this episode, I just wanted to ask you, Singapore can be a place where you have to really know where you're going for the nightlife, because you might be spending 5 days there, 7 days there, 9 days there, and you want to really go to the good places. So, do you have any tips that you would like to give our listeners when it comes to picking the right place?
Yes. So I would first and foremost say that a lot of the most interesting bars happening in Singapore right now are in a specific part of town, and it's the Tanjong Pagar Nightlife precinct. It's kind of adjacent to where the downtown financial center is and where Chinatown is. But in that sort of small square mile, I would say you have really some of the most interesting technique-forward craft cocktail bars that you have in Singapore. But apart from that, I would always say, to be very honest with you, if there's a place that if it's a place that has like a ladies' night program, you probably are there for something else that is not sort of the technical execution. It's always a great time, but I would say if you're really looking for serious drinks that are well crafted, that really put a lot of thought into sort of the concept, I would say a lot of these bars in the nightlife precinct in Singapore are wonderful places to discover that.
Awesome. So avoid ladies' night because it can get crowded. I'll take that from that. So we've had a great night. We've gone back home, slept. So then on the next episode, I want to talk about some of the fun tours around Singapore.
Yeah.
One word or one sentence to describe fun tours around Singapore.
Wow, I would say like edgy, to be honest.
Edgy.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you've used that previously on an episode
Yeah,
also.
I
But
can't
let's
remember which
take edgy as the word
different
as we
direction.
transition into the next episode.
Yeah,
Awesome.
wonderful.